countrywide at foxbangor.com. More people choose Good Morning Maine.
Hello, everyone. Today on Good Morning Maine, an arson investigation is underway in Dennysville after a church was intentionally set on fire. We'll have the latest coming up.
Plus, Bangor's only day recovery program, the Together Place, is closing at the end of the month.
And the American Red Cross is calling on donors. We'll have that story as well.
Good morning and welcome to Good Morning Maine. I'm Janessa Bishop.
And I'm Craig Colson. Thank you for joining us this morning. We'll have all the day's news coming up. But first, a check of that forecast. Yesterday turned out to be kind of a mixed bag.
It was very strange.
Yeah,
it was kind of on and off all day.
A little bit of sun, a little bit of rain, a little bit of everything.
Fog, everything.
Looks like we're going to be having more, we'll be heavier on the sun.
That's good news.
As we head toward the weekend, though.
Yeah, well, the weekend looks really nice.
It does.
We'll turn things over to meteorologist Devin Biggs.
And thank you very much, Craig and Janessa. Happy Thursday. Your first weather forecast brought to you by Quality Automotive and Brewer. Experience the Quality Automotive difference. Reliable service and expert care that you can depend on. Call us to schedule your next appointment, 922-2043. All right, here we go. We have a small craft advisory that is posted until 8 p.m. as we head towards your Thursday along the coast. We're watching for some active surf that will be occurring as a cold front tracks off towards the east. Meanwhile, this morning a lot calmer after some thunderstorms moved through yesterday, and some of those did turn severe yesterday as well. Thankfully, a lot calmer today as high pressure moves in. Meanwhile, you can see all the activity farther down toward the south with those showers and thunderstorms, but again, high pressure will be taking control for us. Futurecast looking nice and boring as we move forward. Some passing clouds today, and overall looking rather quiet tonight and looking very nice as we start things off for your Friday. So overall for today, calling it partly cloudy and breezy with highs in the mid 70s and that west wind getting up to about 25 miles per hour. The hourly forecast moving forward, lots of sunshine today, few passing clouds at times with temperatures warming into the 70s for the afternoon. Your full 5-day forecast is coming up. Craig and Janessa.
Sounds fantastic. Thank you, Devin. Well, an Eddington man who authorities say has been involved in multiple police standoffs has now been convicted in federal court of posting threatening messages online, including threatening to kill former Vice President Kamala Harris. Thaddeus Wind was found guilty on July 21st of 3 counts of transmitting interstate threatening communications and 1 count of threatening Vice President Kamala Harris. The verdict comes after a 2-day jury trial in U.S. District Court in Bangor. According to the Department of Justice, Wind made posts on X, formerly known as Twitter, threatening to kill Jewish people, Vice President Harris, Maine law enforcement officers, and Elon Musk. When the FBI identified him as the author of the posts, they searched his home and found multiple swords. The investigation found that Wind, quote, held strong animosity toward the individuals and groups he threatened. Each count carries a maximum of 5 years in prison, a fine of up to $250,000, and 3 years of supervised release. He'll be sentenced at a later date.
Meanwhile, an arson investigation is underway in a small Washington County town after authorities say a church was intentionally set on fire. Our Doug Banks with that story.
An arson investigation is underway in the town of Dennysville after the Dennysville Edmonds Congregational Church was intentionally set on fire just before 8 a.m. Monday. An incident unimaginable to Roberta Seeley, who's attended the Washington County Church for over 40 years.
It's the only church in town. We just can't imagine this happening.
Authorities say the fire originated near the rear of the King Street Church, and the responding department's quick actions limited the damage to primarily the exterior of the building.
We were very lucky. Passerby saw the smoke and called 911, and our fire department came right away, and they called multiple agencies in case the whole church went up. They were very good and very quick at getting it out.
Authorities also reported no injuries, and no one was in the church at the time of the fire.
I think we can still use the church and the parish hall. So hopefully everybody will come together and help us get it back to normal.
Then on Tuesday, the Maine State Fire Marshal's office determined the fire at the Dennysville Church was intentionally set. The arson investigation remains ongoing, and authorities have released no further details as of Wednesday.
We just can't imagine this happening in this town because things like this don't happen around here. So let's hope they find out what happened to it.
Seeley says there will be an emergency meeting here at the church this coming Saturday to assess the situation and to discuss next steps. Those with information about the fire are asked to contact the State Fire Marshal's office by calling the number on your screen. In Dennisville, Doug Banks, ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
Well, meanwhile, at least one person was injured when a house fire broke out Wednesday afternoon in Bridgeton. It happened along Beaver Pond and Devon Terrace around 3:30. A neighbor says she heard a loud explosion that shook her home, and when she went outside, she saw that house on fire. She says her neighbor's legs were on fire, and her dad helped douse her with water to help put it out. The extent of her injuries are not known at this hour. There are also reports that others may have also received burns. Fire crews from neighboring towns were called in to help fight the fire, and the fire marshal's office is now trying to figure out what caused it.
Well, a man from Lewiston continues to be held without bail following an alleged stabbing in the town of China. 36-year-old Jacob Herbert was arrested on Tuesday afternoon following a search. Police say he stabbed a 47-year-old man from Oakland early on Tuesday morning before fleeing in a vehicle. The victim has since been treated and discharged from the hospital. Authorities say Herbert was arrested later in the day and is now charged with elevated aggravated assault.
The Waterville City Council has approved an ordinance that prohibits all city employees from working with ICE. The ban affects all city workers, including police officers, and was passed on Tuesday night in a 6-1 vote. The ordinance was originally introduced back in May, but was tabled and then amended in June to exclude Waterville police from that ban. However, following the deadly ICE shooting of Juan Sebastian Guerrero last week in Lewiston, Waterville residents debated the ordinance and its amendment. At a city council meeting, some Waterville residents argued police cooperation should be fully cut off, while others believed cooperation is necessary to reduce violence.
I trust the people that work for the city. I do not trust ICE. They are not part of our community. They aren't vetting their officers, and they mask themselves. ICE give a man with a history of domestic violence a gun, and then that person murdered our neighbor, Johan Sebastian Guerrero in Biddeford.
The best way to move forward with immigration enforcement is for all law enforcement, state, local, and federal, to cooperate together to make sure that the job is done safely and that things like what happened in Biddeford don't happen.
The City Council voted 5-2 against the amended ordinance and voted instead to pass the original ban, which excluded police.
Bangor's only day recovery program announced that it will be closing at the end of the month. Our Alex Schley tells us what officials say the closure could mean for Bangor's unhoused community and the city's ongoing efforts to address homelessness.
On the afternoon of July 31st at 4 o'clock, the Together Place will close its doors.
We're going to continue our workforce programs like Employment Connections, the Overdose Response Team.
The facility has served as Bangor's only daytime recovery and resource center, providing a safe place for dozens of people each day.
We have, about 30 to 50 people who come through our doors every day.
The closure comes after months of discussion by city leaders about the need for a dedicated day space for people experiencing homelessness.
Memo in your packet titled City Park Operations and Day Space.
This would be a more inclusive day space.
What we're talking about here is day space.
Advocates say losing the Together Place will do more than leaving people without a place to go. They say it will also remove a critical support system for people working to overcome addiction.
And if the club closes down, right, where are these people gonna go that need help?
Tell me.
I have no idea. They'll be right on the street and there won't be no help. Bangor's a big addiction neighborhood. No matter where they go, if you're trying to recover, you're gonna see this stuff going on, same old people, right? You'll be right back into it and you'll be destroying your life.
Since the city's warming shelters closed in April, the Together Place has been covering the cost to keep its doors open for people in need. However, as operating costs continue to outpace funding, officials say they have no choice but to shut down.
There was an RFP that was put out by the city for a day space. We have applied for that they could kick it over to the Homeless Advisory Council. So we know that that could take some time.
City officials, program coordinators, and those who use the resource all agree a day space is needed. In Bangor, Alex Schley for ABC7 and Fox 22 News.
A bipartisan bill co-sponsored by Senator Susan Collins that is focused on maternal health advanced out of committee. It's called the Rural Obstetrics Readiness Act. Senator Collins' office says the bill would help rural hospitals be better prepared to handle obstetrics emergencies by creating training programs to help non-specialists respond to emergencies like labor and delivery. It also calls for developing a pilot program for teleconsultation services. With such a program would allow a doctor at a rural facility facing an obstetrics emergency to quickly consult with a maternal health care expert. This bill was introduced by Senator Collins as well as Democratic Senator Maggie Hassan of New Hampshire, Republican Senator Katie Britt of Alabama, and Democratic Senator Tina Smith of Minnesota. It now moves to the Senate floor for consideration by the full body.
With property owners scheduled to receive initial property tax bill in the next couple of weeks, Bangor city officials are emphasizing that a number of tax relief or tax abatement opportunities are available. Various programs are offered by the state and the city. For instance, the state property tax deferral program covers annual property tax bills of Mainers 65 and older or those who are permanently disabled and cannot afford to pay them. The state also offers a property tax fairness credit program. That program provides eligible taxpayers a portion of the property tax or rent paid during the tax year listed on the Maine individual income tax return, whether they owe Maine income tax or not.
It's particularly important for taxpayers who might not otherwise have an obligation to file a tax return. Say if you don't have reportable income, if you're retired or for whatever reason, you should still file if you own property and pay property taxes so that you can get that refund.
Also offers a real estate tax club program. That program gives taxpayers the option to make monthly payments as opposed to 2 lump sum payments. There are also other programs that offer a partial exemption from property taxes, and Maine law allows municipalities to offer a hardship abatement for those struggling to pay their property taxes.
Property tax credits are a policy statement about the types of programs that we think it's important to support. But we don't achieve our policy objectives of supporting folks who are struggling if people don't know about and apply for the programs.
And to learn more or to find out if you qualify for these programs, you can visit the City of Bangor's website. Bottom line, though, there is help available. There are programs that will help you pay your property taxes. Your microphone's dead?
It's dead.
So I'll read this. The time now is 6:12. Coming up next on Good Morning Maine, a geologist is urging Amazon to do more excavation before building in Gorham. We'll have the details coming up. But first, another check of that weather forecast. It looks like a great day ahead today. Partly cloudy and breezy, highs near 76 degrees. It will be partly cloudy tonight with lows dropping down to the low 50s. May want to bundle up if you're camping in a tent. Mostly sunny tomorrow, highs near 83. We'll be right back.
Got old metal and junk cars? Turn that clutter into cash at Daddy and Daughters. We make recycling easy, fast, and fair. From Skowhegan to Dover Foxcroft, from Troy to Lee, you can trust our certified scales and friendly service, offering top prices for junk vehicles in Maine. Whether you drop off or we pick up, Daddy and Daughters covers Central and Eastern Maine. Come see us at one of our 4 locations and watch your scrap pay off. Daddy and Daughters turn scrap into cash.
For the best selection in classic and contemporary furnishings, stop by Richard Parks Furniture on High Street in Ellsworth. Handcrafted New England-made bedrooms and dining rooms, imported Scandinavian recliners and upholstery, more than 40 lines of furniture for the home and patio. Richard Parks Furniture is your #1 stop for quality, functionality, and well-designed furniture at affordable prices. Richard Parks Furniture.
Discover Richard Parks.
132 High Street in Ellsworth.
Discover Richard.
Live from the Maine Lobster Festival in Rockland, it's the Lobster Crate Races. Watch fearless racers dash across floating lobster crates. Will they make it or take a spectacular splash? Who will stay on their feet and who will take the plunge? Don't miss the Lobster Crate Races live from the Maine Lobster Festival, Sunday, August 2nd at 2 p.m. only on Fox 22.
The American Red Cross is drawing attention to worsening blood shortage with some inventories nearing crisis levels. The Red Cross says the nation's blood supply dropped 25% in June, which often happens in summer when school-based blood drives stop for summer break, and now they're looking for additional donors to attend blood drives. They say there's a specific need for donors with type O negative blood, but all types are welcome. The trauma medical director at Maine Med says that you never know who you could help by donating.
One of the things I think is really true about Maine is that we're a community-based state. And while you may never meet the person that your blood transfusion or blood donation saves, it could actually turn out to be, a family member or somebody or neighbor that does receive that life-saving blood products. And so I think that that's one of the ways that from a community standpoint, we can really help each other.
The Red Cross says that if just 3 additional donors came to each blood drive, the nation's blood supply could stabilize over the next month.
A Gorham geologist is urging Amazon to do some more digging before building a large delivery station in town. The company wants to build near the site of a landslide about 40 years ago. Sam DeCoste with that story.
In 1983, a 7-acre landslide happened on the north bank of Stroudwater River in Gorham. Nobody was hurt, but a house and several cars were destroyed. It's believed the weight of the structure combined with vibrations or changes in water pressure may have been contributing factors. The landslide happened here. Amazon wants to build here, about 2 miles away. That may seem distant, but former USM geology professor Erwin Novak says there's still the matter of what's called the Presumpscot Formation. It's a mud deposit which can be found at lower elevations throughout southern Maine. Novak says it is known to be a significant contributing factor to landslides.
Most of the risk arises from vibration, like if you are doing foundation work, loading, bringing fill.
Novak says the clay is sensitive and could deform when disturbed or left unsupported. A report by the Maine Geological Survey says if the Presumpscot Formation is disturbed by shaking or other movement, it can liquefy, flow, and collapse.
I wish I had a crystal ball to say absolutely it's going to happen, but there is ample historical evidence for issues building on the Presumpscot Formation from a whole bunch of perspectives.
As for Amazon's plans, the company wants to build a 146,000 square foot delivery station off Main Street. It would come with a parking lot of nearly 1,000 spaces. The facility would operate 24/7 with as many as 3,000 trips in and out every day. If these plans go through, Novak urges the town and Amazon to take every step possible to ensure everyone's safety.
Meanwhile, Pineland Farms has been a fixture of Maine's dairy industry for decades, and now the beloved dairy producer has been sold, but it's not leaving the area. The New Jersey-based producer, Tropical Cheeses, has purchased Pineland Farms Dairy Company. The announcement came yesterday on the City of Bangor's website. It says there are no immediate changes to existing customer, supplier, or operating relationships, and that the new owner expects to retain the existing team and even grow its Bangor workforce over time. Tropical Cheeses intends to continue current operations and invest over time to expand cheese production at the site. The Pineland Farms facility will be Tropical's second core cheese manufacturing location.
That's some promising news. At least they're going to expand, perhaps, and keep the staff there.
Yeah, keep it here.
Yeah, Pineland Farms has been on our morning news before. They make great cheese.
Do they?
So let's hope they keep it
try
going.
Some.
Yeah.
Well, the time now is 6:19. After the break, we'll take a look at the aftermath of this week's hard-hitting storms. More on that coming up.
Plus, a food truck business is celebrating a milestone by opening their first restaurant. Those stories and more straight ahead on Good Morning Maine.
Imagine stepping onto your brand new deck, enjoying all the benefits of your expanded outdoor living space. Hammond Lumber Company can help turn that vision into reality. Visit any of Hammond's expansive showrooms and explore a world of possibilities. The timeless beauty of wood, the resilience of composite or affordable durable PVC. Railing options from traditional wood to sleek aluminum and contemporary cable railing. On-site consultation and delivery are available. Get started on your new deck when you bring your vision to Hammond Lumber Company.
Bob's Discount is about to go even further. The Massachusetts sales tax holiday is officially the weekend of August 8th and 9th, and it's already gimmicks galore out there. My competitors are saying they'll give you the tax savings now. I say, what savings? The tax has to be paid. It's the law, so it's just another one of their so-called sales. With Bob's Discount, you get untouchable values every day, with no phony sales and no phony gimmicks ever.
Oh, my Bob! Bob's Discount Furniture.
Are you experiencing foot pain? Comfort Shoes and More has a team of experts trained in pet orthics to help you find relief. They offer tailored fittings, shoe modifications, customized orthotics, and much more for the ordinary or for the hard-to-fit foot, with fashionable and functional footwear from today's top brands: Hoka, Brooks, Keen, Teva, Taos, Ufus, and Birkenstocks. From running to walking, casual or dress, they have it all. Take the drive to Newport for a sit and fit to find your perfect fit. You and your feet will be glad you did.
A food truck that has become a staple in Penobscot County has now expanded its business and achieved a long-term goal.
Our Sam Miller has the scoop.
The owners of No Bones Grill drove their food truck for 3 years searching for business. They came to a stop on Main Street in Old Town, where they reached their goal of opening their own restaurant.
We felt it was a good time to open a restaurant and give the customers a little more options year-round instead of just during the food truck season.
No Bones Grill held a grand opening for their new brick-and-mortar location on Monday and seek to add to their customer base by maintaining their consistent standards. Through 3 years of catering events in Penobscot County, the business gained popularity, and owners Daniel and Christine Terrell decided it was time for an expansion. Daniel says they knew what kind of vision they had for their restaurant, and Old Town was the perfect location.
It's a wonderful opportunity to showcase the community and everyone around, the college coming back, to show them what we have and offer up our fresh food.
Their menu features classic items from their food truck, as well as some new additions, ranging from cold sandwiches and mac and cheese to signature choices such as their boneless wings and smash burgers. Jackson Terrell works in the restaurant with his mom and dad. He says feedback from the community has been positive and is optimistic about what the future holds.
The reception here has been really great so far. There's been people that have come back multiple times, and I'm already memorizing faces, and some people look really happy to come in here and eat.
The restaurant is open Monday through Thursday from 10 a.m. to 7 p.m., and the food truck will be open throughout the rest of the summer, Friday through Sunday. In Old Town, Sam Miller, ABC 7, and Fox 23 News.
Good luck to them.
Yeah, congratulations. Yeah. Well, now let's get a full look at our forecast with meteorologist Evan Biggs.
Alrighty, Craig and Janessa, thank you very much. Your full weather forecast brought to you by Quality Automotive and Brewer. Experience the Quality Automotive difference. Reliable service and expert care that you can depend on. Call us to schedule your next appointment, 922-2043. Alrighty, here we go. A small craft advisory is posted, and that will last until 8 p.m. as we head towards your Thursday along the coast, watching for some active surf that will be occurring until about that time frame, which is later on tonight. As we check out the wave heights, okay, a little bit active out there at around 4 feet according to the buoys, but notice the contours farther off towards the north and east, a little more active. You head farther out towards sea where the cold front is tracking off towards the east. We have 9 feet here, 10 feet here, and even 11 feet right about in here. So you can see definitely a little more active farther out towards sea this morning. Water temperature temperatures a little stirred up. We have upper 50s right about in here. We have upper 40s here, upper 60s right there, and even lower 60s farther down toward the south. So definitely temperatures all over the place this morning. Meanwhile, radar and satellite, a lot of the active weather has moved away. We had some strong to even severe thunderstorms that passed through yesterday, but thankfully for now things have calmed down as high pressure is moving in. It's definitely going to be a calm one today, and even the next few days with high pressure in full control. Other areas seeing some active weather as showers and even some thunderstorms are pushing through. We have Bertha along the coast that is tracking off towards the west at this time, but futurecast for us rather boring out there. Just a few passing clouds for us today. Some clouds overnight, some areas of dense fog too, but as we head towards tomorrow to start things off, a mostly sunny sky will be expected, and even as we head towards Friday night, still looking rather peaceful, maybe some fog to watch out for, and that's about it. So overall for today, partly cloudy and breezy with highs in the mid-70s, and that west wind getting up to about 25 miles per hour. Overnight, low 50s, partly cloudy, areas of dense fog out there, and the wind overall looking nice and calm. Tomorrow, mostly sunny, low 80s, with that southwest wind at about 5 to 10 miles per hour. And let's check out your extended forecast. Saturday, mostly sunny with highs in the mid-80s. And then we have mid-80s again for your Sunday under a partly cloudy sky. And then Monday, a chance for showers and thunderstorms with highs also in the mid-80s.
This gonna be crazy. Everybody see yeah. Hear that? That's money. I love the sound of this game. Everybody see yeah. Hear that? That's money. I love the sound of this game.
Celebrity Family Feud, tonight on ABC.
Here at Twin City Tire and Service, you will be working with industry professionals. We have ASE certified master technicians and certified tire and lube technicians. If we need your vehicle for a duration of time, we offer a complimentary shuttle service and can even offer a loaner vehicle. Being a client at Twin City Tire and Service means that we will treat you right. This includes a 3-year, 36,000-mile warranty on mechanical repairs. We also provide you with 1 year of complimentary roadside assistance. Come see us today at Twin City Tire and Service in Brewer.
Warning: entering Keepsakes may cause extreme creativity. From gorgeous fabrics and cozy yarn to gifts you didn't know you needed, we've got it all. Dive into quilting, grab a sewing machine, or join a class and unleash your inner artist. Stick around for our mystery quilt projects if you love a good surprise. And yes, we have a fudge counter because crafting burns calories, right? Keepsakes, where your hobbies and your sweet tooth live happily ever after.
When I was 29, I was diagnosed with cancer, and I think part of research and advocating for more money for cancer research allows survivors to have more time. Senator Collins supports and advocates for more funding for cancer research so that people can have better treatments, they can have better outcomes, and therefore they can live better lives as cancer survivors. Thank you, Senator Collins. Continue fighting for our families.
Maine's basketball's first family is bringing their game to the Feud. Don't miss Cooper Flagg and his family on Celebrity Family Feud, Thursday at 8, only on ABC 7.
You're watching ABC 7 Bangor.
On the 12th day of back-and-forth attacks, both Iran and President Trump have made new threats to target civilian infrastructure. As we see the human toll of the war. ABC's Karen Watt is in Washington with the details.
Overnight, fresh strikes against Iran. The U.S. military hitting Iranian targets for 12 nights in a row now, as the human toll of this war is on stark display. President Trump saluting the bodies of 4 American soldiers, all under age 30, as they returned home. Their flag-draped coffins arriving at Dover Air Force Base.
This was in particular something very sad. I attended the dignified transfer ceremony for 4 great U.S. service members killed in the conflict with Iran.
But overseas, tensions are still rising, with no signs of a diplomatic solution. Now, President Trump is threatening to destroy an Iranian bridge or power plant every time Iran attacks a ship in the Strait of Hormuz. In response, Iran warns it will target regional gas, electric, and other infrastructure and prevent the export of even a single drop of oil. Under international law, deliberately targeting civilian infrastructure is a potential war crime.
They're getting hit so hard, and they want to make a deal. But I say they're not ready to make a deal. Because every time they make a deal, they want to change it and everything.
Instead, the war is expanding in the Middle East, disturbing a second trade route. The Iran-backed Houthi militia in Yemen claimed responsibility for attacking 2 Saudi Arabian oil tankers in the Red Sea. The escalation between the U.S. and Iran, and now the disruption of the Red Sea, is again pushing oil prices higher. The average for a gallon of regular gas is now $4.06. Karen Hua, ABC News, Washington.
Health officials in Africa confirmed Wednesday that more than 1,000 people have died from the Ebola outbreak in eastern Congo as the illness continues to spread there. The Ebola outbreak was declared back on May 15th. The disease is highly contagious and can be contracted after contact with bodily fluids. What makes the current virus strain deadly is the absence of an approved vaccine or treatment. It's Africa's fastest Ebola outbreak in history, killing more people in a quicker time frame than a West African Ebola outbreak lasting from 2013 to 2016, which took roughly 8 months to reach 1,000 deaths. According to officials, 80% of the new Ebola cases have emerged outside regular ways of transmission, signaling the outbreak is spreading faster than health officials can track. In June, the CDC used computer models to estimate how bad the current Ebola outbreak could get and said in a worst-case scenario, it could surpass the West African epidemic, which killed more than 11,000 people. African health officials say eastern Congo is facing additional problems fueling the spread, including conflict across the region, misinformation, and community mistrust of healthcare workers.
Well, now to that nasty summer weather, the aftermath of this week's storms, all while Bertha makes its way along the Gulf Coast. A state of emergency is in effect in West Virginia after torrential rain and flash flooding. Dozens of rescues already made, while some people remain unaccounted for. Here's ABC's Sophie Flay.
This morning, crews in West Virginia racing to reach flood-ravaged communities after severe storms slammed the state. Up to 7 inches of rain falling in some areas, triggering widespread flooding. The governor deploying the National Guard to rescue people trapped in high water. Volunteers also stepping in, setting out by kayak to help.
Myself and a few others are just kind of going around making sure everyone's okay. Some people are stranded in parking lots. Some people need water.
New video showing the extent of the destruction. In Buckhannon, one man grabbing his son moments before his shed and ATV were swept away. This view from above showing neighborhoods inundated with water. Tennessee also hit hard. In Nashville, swift water teams rescuing multiple people from vehicles. The same system spawning at least 23 tornadoes across 6 states, from New Jersey to Kentucky, where one couple rode out the storm holding hands as they sat in their recliners, their home destroyed.
Hang on, we're going to die together. And we just kept saying, hang on, and don't let me go, don't let me go.
Meanwhile, along the Gulf Coast, Tropical Storm Bertha making landfall in St. Bernard Parish, Louisiana, bringing heavy rain and gusty winds. Coastal flooding impacting areas from Pensacola, Florida to Jackson County, Mississippi. High surf and dangerous rip currents forcing many beaches to close. Lifeguards urging people to stay out of the water.
It's pretty dangerous out there right now.
Sophie Flay, ABC News, New York.
Well, coming up on the second half of the newscast, the Ellsworth Fire Department will be adding a boat for larger responses.
We'll hear about that new purchase coming up on Good Morning Maine.
This is big fun. Bangor style, the Bangor State Fair. 10 days of summer fun for the family. With truck pulls in front of the grandstand Saturday, August 1st, and tractor pulls Sunday, August 2nd. Sponsored by Truckworks and more. And live music every day. Bangor State Fair. Presented July 30th through August 8th by Martin's. Plan your day at BangorStateFair.com.
ABC
ABC7, Fox 22. The place we call home, telling Maine stories wherever you roam. From sunrise shores to forests of pine, hard work, strong hearts, values that shine. From old towns to harbors, back roads to ocean blue. Neighbors helping neighbors in all that we do. Through storms and clear skies, day after day, we're here with the stories that matter in Maine. From mountains to sea, standing strong and true. This is Maine, this is home on ABC7, Fox 22.
You're watching ABC7 Bangor.
Welcome back, everyone. Today is Thursday, July 23rd, 2026. It's also National Sprinkle Day. The other day we had Ice Cream Day. Now we got sprinkles.
This
to go with
complements it perfectly. This day celebrates those tiny, colorful flecks that bring joy to ice cream and cakes worldwide. The idea of the modern sprinkles dates back to 1913 when a Dutch confectioner created something called hagelslag as a topping for bread and butter. It eventually made its way to the New World where it received a rainbow-colored facelift for the American public and was known as Jimmy's.
So there you go.
Yeah, we were just talking about it too. Some people say that the rainbow ones are sprinkles, the brown ones are Jimmy's.
There's all kinds of stories. I was
There is.
diving into it for a little bit this morning, and
Yeah.
it also depends on where you live in the country. They call it
Exactly.
different things, but one popular one idea of why they call it Jimmy's is there was a ice cream stand down in Massachusetts, and the guy would sell, for an extra charge, they would put Jimmy's or sprinkles on your
Yeah.
ice cream, and then he would donate some money to the Jimmy Fund to help battle
That
childhood
seems
cancer.
very plausible.
So
Yeah.
who knows? One way or another, they're good. Do you like Jimmy's on your ice
I
cream?
do. I normally
Yeah.
get the rainbow, but
Yeah.
very good.
Yeah, I like them every now and then too. All right, time for some history. It was on this date back in 1715. The first lighthouse in America was given the green light to be built at Little Brewster Island off Massachusetts. In 1903, on this date, the Ford Motor Company sold its very first car. It was a Model A that carried a price tag of $850. How about that for a brand new car?
Yeah, that would never happen now.
I remember, when of course I'm old now, so when I was in the 70s, I remember my parents bought a brand new Plymouth for like $3,500.
Really?
Brand new car.
Wow.
So you can't even think about doing
No.
that today. In 1962, Jackie Robinson became the first black player to be inducted into the National Baseball Hall of Fame. And in 1967, on this date, the first of 5 days of deadly rioting erupted in Detroit after an early morning police raid ended with a confrontation with residents. Police had raided an after-hours club in an African-American neighborhood, and the friction touched off a violent riot that spread to other parts of the city, resulting in the deaths of 43 people.
In 1988, the band Guns N' Roses made their breakthrough with their hit single, Sweet Child of Mine. In 2003, the Massachusetts Attorney General released a report saying clergy members in the Boston Archdiocese had sexually abused at least 789 children over a period of 6 decades. An investigation showed children were intentionally placed at risk by rotating known abuser priests at Catholic facilities. The diocese agreed to pay $85 million as part of a settlement. And lastly, in 2021, the Cleveland Indians announced that they were changing their name to the Cleveland Guardians out of respect for Native Americans. And it also retired its Chief Wahoo mascot as well.
All right, today's birthdays include actor Daniel Radcliffe. Harry Potter,
Harry Potter
is 37 today. Singer Alison Krauss is 55. And actor Woody Harrelson is 65 today. So happy birthday to them and to you also, if your birthday's today.
We'll turn things right back over to meteorologist Devin Biggs.
And thank you very much, Craig and Janessa. Happy Thursday. Your first weather forecast brought to you by Quality Automotive and Brewer. Experience the Quality Automotive difference. Reliable service and expert care that you can depend on. Call us to schedule your next appointment, 922-2043. All right, here we go. We have a small craft advisory that is posted until 8 p.m. as we head towards your Thursday. Along the coast, we're watching for some active surf that will be occurring as a cold front tracks off towards the east. Meanwhile, this morning a lot calmer after some thunderstorms moved through yesterday, and some of those did turn severe yesterday as well. Thankfully, a lot calmer today as high pressure moves in. Meanwhile, you can see all the activity farther down toward the south with those showers and thunderstorms, but again, high pressure will be taking control for us. Futurecast looking nice and boring as we move forward. Some passing clouds today, and overall looking rather quiet tonight and looking very nice as we start things off for your Friday. So overall for today, calling it partly cloudy and breezy with highs in the mid-70s and that west wind getting up to about 25 miles per hour. The hourly forecast moving forward, lots of sunshine today, few passing clouds at times with temperatures warming into the 70s for the afternoon. Your full 5-day forecast is coming up. Craig and Janessa?
Looks great. Thank you, Devin. Well, the Herman Fire Department is taking a humorous approach to reminding folks about unpermitted or outdoor burns. Take a look at this. When conditions are especially dry or windy, burn permits are frequently not issued by local authorities in an attempt to thwart accidental fires, including wildfires. But unfortunately, sometimes folks forge ahead with burn plans that are not properly authorized. Herman Fire Department wants you to know that they'll be watching you, and they released the video just to let you know.
Yeah, I love the humorous approach.
It helps.
Well, still to come here this morning, Jack Webb with sports.
Don't go away.
Susan Collins broke her promise to protect Roe v. Wade. When Donald Trump called, she cast the deciding vote for his Supreme Court justices who overturned Roe v. Wade. And she voted to put more than 100 Trump judges on the bench. States are banning abortion without exceptions, and women are dying. But Susan Collins says,
I do not regret that vote.
Tell Susan Collins to stop breaking her word. Stop voting for Trump's anti-choice judges.
Hello, this is George Whelan, founder of Down East Direct Cremation. Over the years, you have come to trust Down East Direct Cremation as your cremation experts, creating the standard for simple, affordable, and respectful cremation care. Through these times of turbulent economy, COVID, rising energy costs, and inflation, Down East Direct Cremation has maintained our price. Unfortunately, due to the ever-increasing cost of doing business, I have been left with no other choice than to raise our price, effective September 8th, 2026. I am sorry. Of course, all current guaranteed mortuary trust agreements will be honored with no additional charges. You or anyone who is thinking of prepaying with Down East Direct Cremation will have until then to lock in our current price of $975 complete. For more information or to schedule an in-store appointment, please call us or prepay online using the button exclusively at downeastdirectcremation.com.
ABC 7 and Fox 22's Jack Webb named Maine's Sportscaster of the Year by the National Sports Media Association.
Welcome back in, folks. In just a few short months, the college basketball season will get underway once again, and the Maine men's basketball team is already getting their early work in. Our Max Sturm has a story.
It may only be July, but it's never too early to get a head start on the upcoming season.
I kind of missed it over the summer. Some people think that, it's good to have a break, and it is, but, I was ready to get back here and get to work.
We're excited to kind of try to build and lay a foundation here this summer that hopefully will set us up when the season starts.
For the Maine men's basketball team, there's a lot of work to get in between now and opening day in just 3 months.
So there's been a main focus, a main emphasis on being strong on defense, being a better communicator, and just bringing energy.
You know, we always want to be really stout on the defensive side of the basketball. We actually in the summertime spend the majority of our time on offense. We will start to build some of our base principles defensively, but like right now, we're just working a lot on offense. We're early in it right now. As we said, we got a long ways to go, but yeah, I think that's off to a pretty good start.
The Black Bears have a new look this season. Many of the players on this year's roster are putting on the blue and black for the first time.
We got 8 new guys, so more than half your team. You're trying to learn more about and get to know them and how they tick, how they work. And then try to blend them in with our returning guys.
Returners like Ace Flagg and Killian Gribben are making sure they do their part to integrate them into the Black Bear culture the best they can.
Just trying to treat them like family. You know, that's something we're big on here. You know, all our teammates, we're all brothers. So just try and get close, you know, build that bond early so you can get that chemistry going.
My first year here, we had a great year, great leadership with Callentines, like Jid and Clayton. And I'm trying to like incorporate like what they've been kind of doing like those 2 years, like or the year that I was there, like to basically add those skills and qualities.
Adding talented new faces to this group of hardworking veterans is what makes this Black Bears team excited for what's coming up this season.
I think everyone wants to compete. That's one of the big takeaways I've seen already.
We got a group that's really hardworking, really tough, a group that wants to be good both individually and collectively.
In Orono, Max Sturm, ABC 7 and Fox 22 Sports.
Thank you for that, Max. Don't forget, Ace will be on Family Feud Thursday night at 8 p.m. on ABC. Final round action from the Maine Women's Amateur Championship at Valhalla on Wednesday. Maria Ouimet beginning the day with a 6-shot lead. 2023 champ Aaron Holmes also in the hunt with a nice birdie there on 9. Maria had some trouble finding her ball on 9 and needed this long putt just to save par. Par 5, 12th. Look at this nice chip from Maria. She would tap it in for the birdie and really pull away from the pack. That's such a smooth swing, little wrist action there, and she tucks it in nicely at the cup. Then in another fantastic save here on 13 for par, she would birdie 14. Meanwhile, two-time defending champ Jade Haylock making a run here, finishing with a beautiful birdie putt on 18. But this was Maria Ouimet's tournament as she taps in on 18, winning her first ever Maine Women's Amateur Championship. And then we got Jade Haylock and Ruth Colucci finishing tied for second, 8 shots back from Maria. It was a precision-like wire-to-wire win. Abby Flanagan from Springbrook finishes in 4th, Aaron Holmes in 5th, and Stella Foy in 6th. Congratulations to all the golfers that competed. We head down to Boston where the Red Sox played 2 with a lot on the line. Win Game 1, you tie the franchise record for longest winning streak. Win Game 2, you break a record that stood for 80 years. But you can't get to Game 2 without the first win, and the Sox understood that early. Bases juiced for Durbin in the first, and he drops one into shallow center to score 2. Still in the first, just a few batters later now, it's going to be Duran. He ropes one into right field, which scores Contreras and Durbin, and Duran is going to leg it out all the way to third for his 3rd triple of the season. 4-0 Sox. 5-2 Sox now in the 4th. Ceddanne Rafaela at the plate, and he launches a solo shot over the monster to give the Sox an insurance run. To the 9th we go. It's going to be our oldest Chapman looking to seal win number 15 in a row. He forces the grounder, and the Red Sox all-time streak, they tie it. They look to break it in this game now. In Game 2, the nightcap it was. We go in the first inning, and they are having trouble. It does not start off hot. Top of the first, Rivera's wild pitch scores 1. Then a Beaver single scores 2 more, and just like that, the Red Sox have their backs against the wall early. But they've been known to come back on this winning streak. It doesn't stop there, though. Rodriguez is going to blast one off the wall still in the first to score another run, and all of a sudden, the Orioles jump on them early. It's 4-0. Feels like we haven't seen this from the Sox pitching staff in a month. In the 4th, Sox trying to rally. Durbin is going to drive in Contreras, who's trying to get his squad fired up, but the Sox would fall just short of 16 in a row. It was still an incredible run nonetheless, but that run comes to an end on Wednesday night at the hands of the Baltimore Orioles. The good news is they're back in the mix, right? That's all you could ask for in this middle of the part of the season. The way it looked about a month ago against the Rockies, you're right where you want to be. You're lucky to be where you want to be right now. Don't forget that. As disappointing of a result as it was, that's still a 15-game win streak. For now, that's all the time we have for sports. We'll be right back after the break.
Roto-Rooter has served the greater Bangor area and beyond for 35 years, offering plumbing, hydrojetting, snaking, descaling, video inspection, and grease interceptor cleaning services. For all your residential and commercial clogs, call Roto-Rooter today, 990-1234.
And away go troubles down the drain. Roto-Rooter.
After an accident, you need to protect your future.
Right away, I could tell the insurance company wasn't going to be helpful. And that's when I called Joe.
The Maine law firm with the experience, resources, and power to get you all the money you deserve.
Joe Bornstein got me more than I expected and faster than I thought possible. I call that success.
Tell the insurance company you mean business. Call Joe, the law offices of Joe Bornstein.
Accidents happen to be their specialty.
Carpets looking tired, stained, or just plain dirty? It's time to call the pros. At C&R Carpet Cleaning, we use deep steam technology to remove dirt, odors, pet hair, and allergens fast. Fresh, clean carpets, healthier home. That's the C&R promise. Visit our Facebook page for a free estimate or call us today, 631-7380. Step into clean with C&R Carpet Cleaning.
Welcome back, everyone. The Ellsworth Fire Department will be boosting their response capabilities with a brand new fireboat. The current fireboat is 25 years old and is no longer in usable condition. This has resulted in delayed responses to 3 water-related incidents due to waiting on mutual aid resources to arrive on the scene. After bringing this problem to the City Council, they decided a new fireboat was necessary.
I do believe that in total Hancock County is almost a third water when we look at all the lakes, rivers, and ponds and stuff. We've had missing paddle boarders. We've had fires on lakes historically. We've had seaplanes crash in Green Lake. So there is a need for this type of asset to be around.
The new fireboat will be arriving in about 4 to 6 weeks.
Good news there.
Definitely. Yeah. Well, now here's meteorologist Devin Biggs with our full weather forecast.
Alrighty, Craig and Janessa, thank you very much. Your full weather forecast brought to you by Quality Automotive and Brewer. Experience the Quality Automotive difference. Reliable service and expert care that you can depend on. Call us to schedule your next appointment, 922-2043. Alrighty, here we go. A small craft advisory is posted, and that will last until 8 p.m. as we head towards your Thursday along the coast, watching for some active surf that will be occurring until about that time frame, which is later on tonight. As we check out the wave heights, okay, a little bit active out there at around 4 feet according to the buoys, but notice the contours farther off towards the north and east, a little more active. You head farther out towards sea where the cold front is tracking off towards the east. We have 9 feet here, 10 feet here, and even 11 feet right about in here. So you can see definitely a little more active farther out towards sea this morning. Water temperature is a little stirred up. We have upper 50s right about in here. We have upper 40s here, upper 60s right there, and even lower 60s farther down toward the south. So definitely temperatures all over the place this morning. Meanwhile, radar and satellite, a lot of the active weather has moved away. We had some strong to even severe thunderstorms that passed through yesterday, but thankfully for now things have calmed down as high pressure is moving in. It's definitely going to be a calm one today, and even the next few days with high pressure in full control. Other areas seeing some active weather as showers and even some thunderstorms are pushing through. We have Bertha along the coast that is tracking off towards the west at this time. But futurecast for us, rather boring out there. Just a few passing clouds for us today. Some clouds overnight. Some areas of dense fog too. But as we head towards tomorrow to start things off, a mostly sunny sky will be expected. And even as we head towards Friday night, still looking rather peaceful. Maybe some fog to watch watch out for, and that's about it. So overall for today, partly cloudy and breezy with highs in the mid-70s, and that west wind getting up to about 25 miles per hour. Overnight, low 50s, partly cloudy, areas of dense fog out there, and the wind overall looking nice and calm. Tomorrow, mostly sunny, low 80s with that southwest wind at about 5 to 10 miles per hour. And let's check out your extended forecast. Saturday, mostly sunny with highs in the mid-80s. And then we have mid-80s again for your Sunday under a partly cloudy sky. And then Monday, a chance for showers and thunderstorms with highs also in the mid-80s.
Webb's RV Center has a 4-acre lot with over 75 previously owned campers all on sale, plus another 4 acres of new RVs and motorhomes. Webb's RV will take anything in trade. You can buy a camper anywhere, but be sure to buy your next camper at your local neighbor. A website can't service your RV, but Webb's RV will, and they have the biggest service department in the state of Maine to help you enjoy your RV or motorhome.
So come on down, neighbor. The coffee pot's on and the pencil is sharp.
Davis Brothers Furniture is expanding. At Davis Brothers, we've always strived to stand out from the rest, and we are now proud to offer flooring for your home, featuring both carpeting and luxury vinyl flooring. We even have an installer in-house with over 30 years of experience. Come see the reason people have been traveling from all over the state and beyond to Davis Brothers Furniture in Guilford for decades. Davis Brothers Furniture, deliberately different, delivering statewide.
Keep your boat safe, functional, and beautiful with a Shoremaster boat lift from Hammond Lumber Company. Your Hammond sales rep can help you choose the perfect lift for your boat. Shoremaster's exclusive Whisper winch offers the industry's smoothest and quietest operation. Add speed and convenience with a Shoremaster lift motor. And Shoremaster's modular Infinity design makes it easy to upgrade with accessories when you're ready. Take your boating experience to the next level with a Shoremaster boat lift from Hammond Lumber Company.
David Muir, the most trusted, most watched newscast in America. And now, ABC's World News Tonight has won the Emmy for Best Live News Program for the 4th year in a row.
I'm Beth Jones. Fox 22 News at 10 is where Maine turns for local stories. Join us tonight for breaking news, hometown sports, and of course, the state's most trusted forecast. We're keeping you informed every night.
Dramatic video from San Francisco. The details almost sound like the plot of a movie. A small dog missing since July 4th is finally reunited with his owners. But this rescue is one for the books. The East Palo Alto Police Department wrote on Facebook, quote, "Tiny dog escapes marsh, survives aerial assault by an organized group of seagulls, and is rescued by the Menlo Park Fire Department." Aerial footage shows him swimming last Thursday until the Menlo firefighters ended up finding him there. Look, he's just paddling right along.
He's chilling. He's fine.
That's hilarious.
Yeah. Apparently some seagulls were dive bombing him, though, for a while there. So,
well, definitely an adventure, that's for sure.
I'm glad the doggy's okay.
Absolutely. Well, that's all the time that we have left for this hour, but you can join us for the second hour of Good Morning Maine. That's next on Fox 22.
Have a great day, everyone.
For the best selection in classic and contemporary furnishings,
your home has grown in value, season after season. With the county's 1010 Home Equity Line of Credit, you can borrow up to your credit limit over 10 years, with interest-only payments over those 10 years, 10-10. And then you can stop and smell the roses, soak up the sun, and invest in your nest. The 1010 Home Equity Line of Credit, the County Federal Credit Union, countyfcu.org.
Your call is important to us.
You've heard this before, too many times. Tired of being customer 45978? Yeah, we would be too. Speed means fast uploads, no lag, and zero buffering. But it also means calling you back, showing up on time, and treating you like a person, not a problem. So whether you're working, streaming, gaming, or all three, it is time to make the switch to a provider that actually tries. Go NetSpeed. Service isn't dead. It just moved local.
From the heart of Maine, where rugged beauty meets timeless craftsmanship, Richard Henderson & Sons Masonry, taming the outdoors through groundwork, retaining walls and seawalls, building custom fireplaces that become the centerpiece of your home, crafting granite steps and patios that invite you outdoors, designing hardscapes that turn yards into living spaces, built to last, crafted for life. Richard Henderson & Sons Masonry, quality in every stone.
I've been waiting a long time to be on your comfort, compassion, caring couch.
You're such an icon, and I know that word is overused today, but you really are. All the things about myself that make me nervous, but on you it shines so brightly and give me permission to be myself.
That's what makes you so special, and that's why people love coming here. Oh my God, this is so fun, you guys. I'm so grateful that you're all here. Thank you for coming today.
On Fox 22.
Good Morning Maine on WFVX, Fox 22. From the Great Northwoods to the Rockbound Coast and streaming live in HD worldwide at foxbangor.com. More people choose Good Morning Maine.
Hello everyone. Today on Good Morning Maine, an arson investigation is underway in Dennysville after a church was intentionally set on fire. We'll have the latest on that coming up.
Plus, Bangor's only day recovery program, the Together Place, is closing at the end of the month.
And the American Red Cross is calling on donors. We'll have that story as well. Good morning and welcome to Good Morning Maine. I'm Janessa Bishop.
And I'm Craig Colson. Thank you for being there. We'll have all the day's news coming up, but first a check of the forecast, and it's looking like a very pleasant sunny day.
It is.
We'll see a few clouds, but overall it's going to be comfy. And
yeah, even into the weekend too. It's looking like it's going to be a nice sunny weekend.
Bring it on.
Yes. We'll turn things over to meteorologist Devin Biggs.
And thank you very much, Craig and Janessa. Happy Thursday.